So I wanted to jump on right away today, guys, because I just wanted to talk about the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the games. Let's break them down. And let's start off right away with Bayern Munich versus Inter Milan. So Bayern versus Inter. I have some notes here. And actually the main thing that just, I don't know, I think here the stadiums is going to be very much what decides it. Of course, the first leg is going to be played in Germany, so that's going to be a slight advantage to Inter de Milan. And another slight advantage I could say for Inter is that, well, Bayern Munich right now only have the fit pair of center backs of Kim Min-jae and Eric Dyer. Yes, that's the only fit pair of center backs they have for the rest of the season. No Upamecano, they have no Ito. That's a big miss. Only to have them two, I don't know, man. I don't know. Last season, I mean, when they got all the way to the semifinals, Eric Dyer still put in a very good performance with Thomas Tuchel, even playing, against Real Madrid. So I guess kudos to the Englishman there. But I'm not sure whether that's going to be enough for such a good pair of strikers that you could see in Lautaro Martinez and Marcos Thuram. Particularly this season, both of them have been very good, right? I also see that the miss of Alphonso Davies could potentially be a huge outlet. We know that Company really like that attacking fullback, particularly on the left back position. Guerreiro will be a very good substitute for that, but I'm just not quite sure whether that will be able to replicate. I think that a lot of praise, though, that we must give to Company and this Bayern Munich side, I think it's the ability to once again be able to reinstate Kimmich in that midfield position. He has been one of the best midfielders this season. I really do think that. With Germany, he has been absolutely excellent. With Bayern Munich, even more so. To get Goretzka back at an incredible level is also one of the best things you could say from Company and what he has been able to do. And I think that the link-up play of three players, particularly up top, and those being Jamal Musiala, Michael Olise, and Harry Kane, is out of this world. That, I mean, it's a front four because Leroy Sané is still there, but let's be honest. It's Olise, it's Musiala, it's Harry Kane. It's those three who are providing the goods for Bayern Munich this season. I think the combination of all of those three players, it's really showing. It's really intricate. And if there's someone to be able to dismantle, to find the gaps, to find the spaces in for someone like in and around, the defense of Inter de Milan, particularly in that 3-4-3 formation that Inzaghi likes to play, I think it could be Michael Olise. I think he's one of the best right midfielders in the world this season. I have no doubt about it. And that could potentially be a very good way that Bayern Munich will try and break down Inter de Milan. In the case about Inter, they almost have a full fit team. They have I think Denzel Dumfries missing for this game. Darmian is a very good deputy there. He has already played a Champions League final with them, with this generation of players. And apart from that, Pavard, ex-Bayern Munich player, very good solid center-back trio there with De Vrij and Bastoni, Di Marco, Canaloglu, Mkhitaryan and Barella. I mean, it's what you expect from Inter de Milan. They're currently flying in the Serie A this season. Actually, let me try and find it for you guys, because if I'm not wrong, it's been tight so far. You can see it's been tight so far, but Inter has still been able to maintain the lead, and their form is very good. It's showing that. Inter here, 67 points to 64 points against Napoli. And I want to show you, let's actually dive deeper into, I want to see the head-to-head games between them and Bayern Munich, if I can find it. So let's see, Inter versus Bayern Munich. Let's check it out on the full screen. And if we see the head-to-head games, so they're going to be facing this year, of course. But not too long ago, in 2022, Bayern beat Inter twice, 2-0, 2-0. I do remember that. Then, okay, this is friendly. We don't care about that. All the way back in 2011, yeah, we have Inter beating Bayern 2-0. Then Bayern won 1-0. Inter then won 3-2. So you can see that it's mostly a balanced occasion in several different fixtures. But I don't know. I'm mostly, honestly, inclining for Bayern Munich. And most people will tell you that Inter de Milan are the favorites for this one. They will tell you, the form. I think that the players that they have, I think that this season it's shaping up to be mostly Inter in the semifinals. But I do think that Bayern Munich are looking like a strong team. I really do like. I think the benefit of them already locking in their domestic league will benefit them quite a lot. I think, that will give them a quite big advantage progressing into this quarterfinal. And I think that will give them the edge to be able to beat Inter, to be able to rest those particular key players that will be the difference maker. I think that is this quite distinguishable to pinpoint, these stellar players like Harry Kane, like Musiala, Darolise, which I just do not think Inter quite have. Maybe they do in Varela, you could say in Lautaro Martinez, but what Olise, what Musiala can produce is just magic. And I think that magic in Champions League is much more a synonym or closer to victory than what a hard-working team can actually produce. It sounds a little bit weird, but that's what I think can happen with Bayern Munich. I mentioned a little bit close to their detriments or maybe to the lack of center backs, and that could catch them off guard, particularly in one of the two legs, or might not get them through overall with the best, might not give them the best performances or give them the best domination overall. But I think the Bayern Munich will come out of top on this one. I think that Bayern Munich are slight favorites in my opinion. I do think that. So yes, I think that Bayern Munich will progress. Moving on, let's talk about Arsenal versus Real Madrid. Okay, so this one, it's very interesting. It was supposed to be very interesting before last match day, before last weekend, because, last weekend, Julian Timber got injured and Gabriel Magallanes got it. And I think that changes completely everything for Arsenal. I have absolutely no doubt. I have no problem in saying I think Real Madrid are complete favorites in this one. I think they are progressing. I think they are going through. I think even when you take a look at the home stadiums, the order of the fixtures, it also benefits them quite massively. When you take a look at them going first to the Emirates and then finishing the game at the Bernabeu, I think that's a massive, massive advantage for them. You also see that Saka, even though he has returned in the game against Fulham, even scored that goal, he's not at the best of his abilities. You want your star player to at least be 1, 2, 3 matches deep, have that match sharpness to be able to face a team of the level of Real Madrid, and to not have your best defender. And yes, I think Gabriel is even better than Saliba. That's quite a hot take, but that's my opinion. It's massive. And to not even have Julian Timber, who could be a second deputy there, and to not even have someone like Calafiori, because Calafiori is still injured, it means that they're going to have to play someone like Kivior there, or maybe even Thomas Partey. I'm not too sure what they're going to be doing in center back. That's going to be a massive downgrade. And to play Kivior or Partey out of position against the likes of Mbappe, Rodrigo, Bellingham, Vinicius, I think it's already going to be a massive, quite humongous, honestly, detriment to Arteta's Arsenal. I really do see that. Also, you could say that Merino at 9 could be quite difficult, could be a quite detrimental part to their game. I had it here as a disadvantage, but when I'm thinking about it, I quite do think that the way that Arsenal could still beat Real Madrid, or the way that they could make it difficult, is just being a team that is very tactically sound. If they're able to, elongate this game, make it a stalemate, make it something where they have to progress and Real Madrid really have to knock on the door of Arsenal's defense and try to make it and struggle with time, as the pressure builds in the first and then the second leg. I think maybe they will have the possibility to maybe Arsenal to get something out of these two ties. But if not, I just mean Real Madrid should have it really easy. And particularly Real Madrid should have it very easy if they incorporate Raúl Asensio in the defense and Valverde in the midfield. I think those two key players are the most important for Real Madrid right now. Yeah, kid you not, I do think it's not Mbappe, it's not Bellingham, it's not Vinicius, it's not Rodrigo. I think it's Asensio and Valverde. I think Asensio is currently the best defender that they have. Yeah, I think the 21-year-old is the best defender that they have. And I think Valverde is the most important player of that team. I think single-handedly he makes this team work because he outworks absolutely everyone in that side when he plays as a midfielder. They don't have a right back currently, and yes, Valverde is also the best right back in that team at the moment, but you need him in the midfield. You need him there to be the fulcrum point, to be the core of every attack, of every defensive intervention for Real Madrid. And And I think that if Real Madrid do that and do not become their worst enemy, then they can move through. They can progress. Ancelotti even said it. And Ancelotti said that there are these some stages of the season they're scraping by. And Real Madrid, you kind of expect them not to be doing that, right? So if they're not their worst enemy, they should easily be able to dismantle Arsenal in these two ties. Next up, we have PSG versus Aston Villa. And here, I think that even though it looks very one-sided to PSG, and I think PSG, because of the way that they're playing, the form, the players that are on such an incredible level, like Ousmane Dembélé, like Desiree Doué, even Barcola or Vitinha, they're just playing at such a high level. I think it's very easy to give them as favorites, and I'm going to give them to progress here in this tie. I kind of want to make an argument in this space for Aston Villa, because I do think that this is very similar to the run that Villarreal made with Emery in the Champions League when they reached the semifinals. I do think Villa here have the perfect narrative. I really do think that. I think that they can come here, sit back and defend at the Parc des Princes because they go there first. They go first to Paris, and then they can return to Birmingham, and then they can do what they did with Bayern, a big night under the floodlights, and they can just try to get that 1-0 win. If they are able to keep a low scoreline when they go to Paris, I think they can do that. They can play also with history because they have more history than PSG. I think that's not a that's not a lie. That's a fact. They have more history than PSG. They got more Champions League than PSG. So yeah, they can play on that. And I think that Emery is a perfect manager for doing stuff like that. And Emery is just such an underdog. He has proved it time and time again with Sevilla, with Villarreal. He has always done it. And I think that against his former side in PSG, he can have the possibility to showcase his abilities that he once could have shown at PSG, right? And I think so. I think it's going to be an interesting battle of the two Spaniards between Emery and Luis Enrique. Those are honestly the ones to watch. When you're designing like the thumbnail for this video, for instance, you kind of want to put the key players. You might want to put Dembele or you might want to put Watkins on the thumbnail for a video like this. But honestly, when you're trying to analyze this video, you want to put Luis Enrique and you want to put Unai Emery. That's the best way to describe this because this game is going to be won by the manager. With that being said, though, it's gonna be hard, because those things depends of plenty of stuff. It depends on plenty of different things, and I don't know, man. I don't know if Liverpool could do it. If Liverpool could have an incredible game, and maybe PSG do miss that because in the very first leg against Liverpool, we saw that it could be possible that a good goalkeeper like Alisson, who knows, maybe Emiliano Martinez does something incredible and pulls something out of the bag. I mean, he does have sort of Frenchman numbers in his pocket. He does have it a little bit because of the final in Qatar. So who knows? Maybe he can pull something very similar to Alisson and do something special there. Yeah, why not? You know what? I'll change my mind. I'll go with Aston Villa. You know what? Fuck it. I'll go Aston Villa. I got Aston Villa to progress. And last but not least, we got Barcelona versus Borussia Dortmund. And this one, guys, even though it's last, it's kind of easy to dissect, Barcelona, I think, here are the most informed team in Europe at the moment. I think they are the best team that plays football. They have the best players on form. Pedri is at a ridiculously good level. Every game he does is a master class, a master stroke of genius. You have Rafinha, this Ballon d'Or contender, although I'm a little bit worried about how he's going to be returning after the international break. He missed 2 matches and he has not done or contributed to an assist or a goal yet, so that's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Barcelona has never lost to Dortmund in the UCL. Dortmund has never beaten Barcelona in the UCL. Barcelona has won 3 times and have drawn other 2 times. And I think that this team with Hans Flick is just very different because what I think is that it's more than 11 players. When you ever want to win a trophy or something very important, one of the big 3 competitions, like the title, like the Champions League mainly, most of all, you need more than 11 players. And with this Barcelona side, you're seeing that they're coming with the goods, If it's not Dani Olmo, it's Fermin Lopez. If it's not Frankie de Jong, it's Casado. If it's not Lewandowski, it's Ferran Torres. Dude, 16 goals for Ferran Torres. That's a monstrous amount for a substitute. He's a substitute and he has 16 insane. I mean, Dortmund has improved a little bit under Niko Kovac. They haven't really been able to sustain a good number of a nice run of form like they did last season. Not even close. So Barcelona should be able to progress in this one. I think it's still gonna be a little bit difficult. I think we're gonna see a moment where Barcelona are gonna be tested like they were against Benfica. I mean, they were tested against Benfica, particularly because of the red card, and something like that could still happen. But let's remember that their stadium is the hardest stadium to go to. I mean, they still have an incredible striker in Sergio Guirassy, I don't know, but the man is on fire. And he single-handedly got Dortmund to stay on track for the game in the league phase of the Champions League this year. He kept them in the game. He single-handedly kept them in the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does something very similar in the second leg when it is at their stadium. And that's the thing. If Barcelona are not able to get a big enough margin in the first leg, I think there's gonna be trouble. Certainly, there's gonna be trouble. So Barcelona should be looking to try and score as many goals as possible in the very first leg. They should try and kill the tie in the very first leg. Of course, we know that that's not something that Barcelona are used to. It's not something good for them to do because we have Roma, we have Liverpool, we have plenty of evidences that is bad for Barcelona. But with Hansi Flick and the team that he has developed, the mentality that this team or the mentality that he has created, it has just shifted completely. So I have a little more faith that this side is able to, work around that. I think this side is able to maintain a strong focus. And I think that they're capable of doing something very. So yeah, Barcelona to go through. So my candidates to go through for the semifinals are Barcelona should be facing Bayern Munich in one semifinal. And then in the other semifinal, it should be Aston Villa versus Real Madrid. Incredible. So yeah, guys, it's going to be my predictions. I want to know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. Let me know if you're excited for the UCL this year. Could be something special. Who knows? See you in the next one. Take care. Ciao, ciao.